continuer ainsi avec la même approche.
This is what a military takeover looks like. The government was toppled and an army general installed as leader. But Niger is not alone. A string of West African countries have had their presidents forcibly removed in takeovers and replaced by military rulers. Now those rulers want to reshape West Africa. It could have huge consequences for the world. Here's how. To get how these military leaders are changing the region, we need to know what ECOWAS is. This is an alliance of West African countries somewhat similar to the European Union, which allows people and goods to move freely between them.
Pause. Okay, so ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States. Just a little recap here, just to remind myself the countries are actually included in this list. Benin, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, that's Cape Verde, I would think. Ivory Coast, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Togo are the countries with ECOWAS. So the interesting thing, I'm actually curious, why is it West African states? Wouldn't that be West African countries? When did all these African countries become states? Oh well, I'm gonna get back into it, but yes, this is kind of a reaction show to kind of clips and documentaries. This is a docu-series of the BBC called Explained. It says the dictators reshaping West Africa. They're calling it dictators, but it's just military leadership, kind of taking over in recent years in some West African states, countries, I would say. So yeah, let's get into the documentary here, see if we pause and kind of give our takes and opinion on this. The good thing is BBC can follow all the journalistic standards and report on this stuff and create beautiful videos and do an amazing job. And I don't have to actually do any of that. I just gotta react, watch it, get informed by it. But let's get back into it.
Its main aim is to make its member states self-sufficient. Most of them are former French, British, and Portuguese colonies. The group has been around since 1975, and so it's a big part of politics in the region. But now it's facing a crisis. After the coup in Niger, ECOWAS gave the military junta a deadline. You have a week to reinstate the president or prepare to be punished. But the deadline passed and the mutineers didn't back down.
Vive le peuple nigérien digne et souverain.
Are they being described as mutineers? Okay.
Vive le Niger indépendant, je vous remercie.
Sanctions, suspensions, and military threats meant nothing to them. Instead, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso ditched the group entirely and set up their own, the Alliance of Sahel States. The three breakaway nations have accused ECOWAS of serving the interests of foreign powers.
So it's a political statement, but we'll see how it develops over time when hard economic realities start to bite.
This new alliance has said they'll pool their resources in areas such as energy, investment, and security. And as for ECOWAS, its credibility has been damaged after it failed to convince the three states to stay.
It doesn't speak a language that people understand. It's in a bubble.
ECOWAS is moderating its position in terms of how it handles juntas. So ECOWAS is afraid of further fragmentation.
This is the French embassy in Niger being attacked right after the military coup. And these are some more images taken at a pro-coup rally. What do you notice? These Russian flags and placards like this. The same was
Abbas La France Vive Poutine. Poutine, that's like, poutine, the food, but I'm guessing that's like Vladimir Putin that's talking about. I can't. I'm guessing that's Vladimir Putin.
seen in Burkina Faso and Mali. So why are they so angry at the French? And why do they seem to love Russia? Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali are all former French colonies. France had previously put thousands of troops in the Sahel region at the request of African leaders to fight jihadist groups. But since the coup in Niger, anti-French sentiment has risen. The military junta accused France of creating instability and blamed them for the deteriorating security situation. France's colonial past is also a point of resentment and means many people blame it for problems in West Africa. Now French troops have completely withdrawn.
Something has shifted fundamentally on the continent.
The United States has also been a target of hostility and has withdrawn its troops. A key US drone facility has closed. This is a big blow to its strategy in the Sahel, as Niger has been the center of US operations in West and North Africa since 2012.
Big question marks about the future of US military presence and what depth it will be in West Africa in the run-up to a US election. Because if Mr. Trump prevails, I think there'll be even less enthusiasm out of Washington to be involved in West Africa. West Africa will be predominantly seen by Washington as a European concern, and that the EU, plus the United Kingdom and other European countries, will need to step up to the plate.
While these military rulers have been cutting ties with the West, they've been getting closer to Russia.
But we are seeing a very aggressive re-engagement.
Рассматриваем Мали как одного из ключевых партнеров в регионе и разделяем вашу заинтересованность в выводе двусторонних отношений на качественно новый уровень.
It is basically protecting junta elites and then seeing what economic benefits they can derive from it.
But it's not only Russia. I mean, we are seeing China, Turkey, Brazil, UAE. Most European countries are not very consistent in how they deal with the continent.
Pause. I think that's a very good point being made about the European countries not being consistent with how they actually treat Africa. Yeah, not to get into the whole colonial past, but that consistency is definitely a thing. The imposition of ideology in general is also a thing as well. But let's get back into it.
And they realize the suspicion, the misunderstandings, the frustrations that creates avenues for the Russians and the Chinese to now do what they are doing.
And West Africa is also playing a role in the Russia-Ukraine war. Mali and Niger have cut diplomatic ties with Ukraine. This was after a military official there made comments suggesting Kyiv had played a role in the loss of dozens of Malian soldiers. They were killed along with mercenaries from Russia's Wagner group while fighting Tuareg separatists and Al-Qaeda-linked militants. This footage was shared by users on Telegram, claiming to show the aftermath of the attack. A spokesperson for Mali's Tuareg rebels denied receiving any help from Ukraine. Ukraine says no evidence has been provided to show Kyiv played any role in the...
Why would Ukraine get involved when they have a war actually going on in their country, fighting against Russia? That's kind of weird. That would be my first, brow-raising question would be, why would Ukraine want to care or get involved with another conflict somewhere else while trying to gather support from NATO and the West in their own, you would say, war against Russia?
Fighting.
There's now a competition. There's a new agency now enables African states to play the politics and to do the calculus as to who best serves their interests.
But these military generals aren't just turning to foreign forces. The leaders of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have said that they will join forces to fight the growing threat of jihadist insurgents. These are violent groups connected to Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
So if you look at the pattern of global terrorism, then the epicenter in the world is the Sahel now, if you exclude what's going on in Gaza with Hamas. These weakened, contested zones that we're seeing in West Africa, where radical Islamist groups are flourishing, is a potential threat for Europe and contagion of ideas, but also of radicalized individuals through migration routes.
The crux of West Africa's strategic importance to the global community lies in the resources and minerals it can provide.
West Africa now produces more gold and exports more gold than South Africa, for example. It's a really important gold producing region. Niger is a major producer of uranium. Even for London, Burkina Faso and Mali are important in terms of companies that are listed on the London Stock Exchange that produce gold.
The military takeovers in West Africa may have been seen as the latest chaotic development in a famously unstable region. But it's become clear that these coups could be reshaping the region for decades to come.
So, interesting docu-series, and I would say one point that I wanted to make is for the three countries mentioned in this documentary, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. Niger is actually a major player in the exportation of uranium. And you know, uranium has been in the news lately. A lot of people know about it with all the talk about the U.S. attack and the Israel attack on Iran, based on enrichment of uranium for nuclear weapons. About 4% of the world's uranium, mainly exported to Europe, maybe before the juntas took over in that would be Niger. 4% of the world's uranium comes from Niger. You would say that's why France has a big interest in that country. As for Mali and Burkina Faso, huge exporters of gold, about 58 to 60 tons a year of gold coming out of each of these countries. For uranium, I think about 2,000 tons a year. That's back in 2022 for Niger. So you would say France is definitely not happy about losing access to that as well. As per whatever the Alliance of the Sahel states means going forward, we'll just wait and see. I can tell from right now on that the propaganda battle is already on. If you're not getting it, you're going to discredit who's getting it by all means necessary. Right now, those three countries you would say are in alliance with Russia. How much impact China has on these countries? You would say maybe in trade. China would also be directly involved in that kind of alliance when it comes to trade, but Russia definitely would find other ways. We all know the Wagner Group is pretty common knowledge or verified facts that they are present in several African countries as well. I think that has been made public by the Russian government as well, so it's nothing really like a secret in that instance. But I think it's an interesting developing story. Might look for other docu-series just to expand on what is going on here. This is kind of a short one. It's also a Sky News. There's a bit of a lens to look at that, considering that it's coming out of the UK. I would like to find like a French documentary on this, see how the French feel about this, and maybe find something more pro-Russian and see how they actually feel about this. If you want to watch these documentary, specifically on this video without all the interruptions, all the pauses, by me, you can check the link in the description of this video of the Sky News report. It's called Explained, and it does a pretty good short docu-series to kind of break down that. But I think it's interesting. Gonna keep trying to do this. I call this together. Most times, what I'm actually doing here is to try to find newsworthy information, learn through it, give a take or two here, and kind of keep up with what's going on in general and the things people might want to talk about, a lot of trending stuff, and things that I probably have interest in keeping up with as well. Don't forget, if you like anything on the channel is No Right, No Wrong. My name is CT. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to comment as well. If you don't like the videos, if you don't like the takes or whatever, not a dislike, no dislike, but you can leave a comment that you absolutely don't like it. Or if you actually listen up to the stage of the video, I appreciate you a lot as well. Peace.